Okay, here. Hi,
Hi, how are you
um,
guys?
we're good, and you?
I'm very well, very well. Excited for today.
Okay.
Hi, Rebecca.
Yeah, we too. So, well, let's start. We're very excited and we're very happy to have this talk. So we are Paola and Francesca, and we are the founders of the Sustainable Mag, which
Mhm.
is a magazine, a vertical magazine about that talks about sustainability with a fashion pop tone of voice, and it targets the new generation, the Gen Z, and we want to give voice to all those people and companies who are actually contributing to create a more sustainable future, not only in the fashion and luxury industry that are our focus, but also in other industries like music, design, art, and lifestyle. So we really want to be a point of reference and a community for these people who are changing the, the world into a more sustainable future. And we are very glad today to interview Rebecca Morter, who is the CEO and founder of Lone Design Club. Hi, Rebecca.
Hi, guys. Thanks so much for having me. And I must say, I love the magazine.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And so I think we can start, and we would like to know more about you, about your story, because you started from the other side. So you started with your own brand in 2015. So what's your story? And then we're gonna deep into your actual business, Solo Design Club.
Yeah, sure. I'll do a quick overview. I'm conscious that we have, I think it's like 20 minutes, so I'll rush through it, but
Yeah.
feel free to tell me to hurry up if I start rambling. Um, so my background is originally in design, so women's wear design. It's what I studied, it's what I trained in, and it's where I worked before I went into more of an entrepreneurial journey. Um, I launched my own brand in 2015. I was working with some incredible brands before that: Alexander Wang, Paul Costello, Simone Rocha, and some commercial at John Lewis, British institution. So I had a bit of both sides of luxury and of commercial. And from that, ended up working in the industry, and then started a side hustle, which then that side hustle turned into a brand. And I was offered a space to showcase at London Fashion Week in 2015. So very much from the design side, I didn't have the retail or business background. That all came later, and it's still a massive learning, but super exciting. 2015, I launched my brand, and very quickly, very soon on, realized the changes in wholesale, especially in how brands get to market and how products are sold. I think that the fashion industry, and it's one of the things I love about this current event, these talks we're having today, and talking about technology and advancements. I think the fashion industry has been so behind for far too long. And as a brand trying to get to market, you're trying to wholesale to big stores, bigger retailers that don't want to take a risk. And it takes a long time to build up that credibility and that trust with them, and then get into those stores, and then you've got to continue those sell throughs. So it's a challenge getting a small brand to market, especially if you're trying to grow organically and sustainably. So we kind of thought really early on in 2015, there must be a better way to do this. We know if we can get in front of customers that we can sell. So that was the big thing. We had a product that we knew we could sell. Realized at the same time there were so many other brands facing the same challenge, all trying to get into the same retailers. The amount of times I meet brands that say they want to be in Harrods, Selfridges, and you just think, gosh, they're only going to take so many brands, and that is a big ask. That is you're asking someone to invest in your business pretty early on. So we started changing things, started taking over underutilized retail space across London. My first pop-up I ever did was in a frozen yogurt shop. We had no money, we were totally broke. We made all the furniture ourselves, we just filled it with our brand and about 12 other brands from Fashion Week that we just thought were amazing. So it was a really exciting journey. And then that was back in 2016. We started doing more and more pop-up stores. We grew this incredible community of designers and of customers. One of the biggest things, customers would come in more than once a week, which is unheard of in physical retail. And it was the experience that we were creating. We were putting the designer in front of the customer and creating this really unique relationship where you could shop directly from the person who either created the product or who had such a part of it. It was their baby, it was their business, and that transparency became such an important experience. Fast forward a couple of years, then in 2018, I decided to incorporate Loan Design Club. The British High Street was seriously starting to show cracks, big institutions, Debenhams, House of Fraser reporting big losses. And it was a really opportune moment. We were having so much growth and seeing such an uphill, exciting journey that we decided to incorporate the company. It did mean I put my own brand on hold, but for me, it was a decision that really sat in the back of kind of sustainability and ethics. I didn't feel that being another brand in a very saturated market was necessarily what I really should kind of focus on. And instead, if I could be the one that could empower not only brands but customers to really shop differently. Are you okay? Have you been hit by a poster?
I'm
fine. So yeah. Oh no, it's okay. It happens. Always when you're live, right?
Yeah.
So where was I? So yeah, so we decided to incorporate Loan Design Club, and for me, it was a decision that I felt like I could have a much stronger impact supporting the next generation of sustainable and ethical brands that were actually trying to make a difference. And the innovation and the businesses they were building were just so incredible. Small supply chains, ultimate transparency, really focusing on materials that were better for people and planet, working with factories that really focus on ethics. And I just thought, this is the group, or these brands really need the support. They need the access to customers because people want their product, but the access just isn't there. So that's kind of the initial story. And now we work with about 350 brands around the world. We do focus on physical, super lean, agile retail, so pop-up stores on steroids, I like to call them. We do about 3 a month across London, Italy and China. Hopefully we'll resume those soon. And we have our online e-commerce platform, and we're really kind of focusing on live stream shopping. And for us, it's all about that experience.
Wow, Rebecca, we see a lot of excitement, big numbers, great expectation for the futures. And today we see quite somewhere talking about sustainability in television, in radio broadcast, magazines. So, but what is important to us today is what does it mean sustainability to you?
Yeah, this is a great question. It's so tricky, isn't it? Because the word, it gets thrown around. Some people, it's a dirty word to some people. It's a buzzword to others, and then other people, I think the fact is people do, they do kind of know what it means. It is a really tricky word for us. Sustainability starts with transparency, and that's kind of the absolute kind of foundations of it. It's impossible to be 100% sustainable. I don't think anybody can. But we all, customers and brands, no matter who we are, we have a responsibility to be doing our part. And that's, as a consumer in your everyday life, there are multiple things we can be doing. We're not obviously able to be 100% sustainable. It would be impossible. But we can all do our part. And as brands, I think it's absolutely essential that you do have a focus in your business. For us at Loan Design Club, we focus on 3 pillars. It's sustainable materials, ethical production, and social responsibility. And it's absolutely crucial that any brand we work with focuses on one of those pillars and is very well educated, very confident, and has, whether it's accreditations or certifications, or has the documentation to back up, where they're saying they fit within that remit. But I think it's absolutely crucial. I don't think as a brand you could start a business in this day and age without having a serious consideration of what your approach is.
Yeah, we completely agree, and we really share this value. And so, as you were mentioning, you decided to give voice and to empower emerging brands with sustainable and ethical DNA. So, how do you find and how do you select those brands?
So we do it in a couple of ways. We do. I mean, we have a lot of brands now, network now, but a lot of brands will reach out to us. The physical retail opportunities is the biggest part of what we do. And I think this is something that's really exciting as we emerge from COVID. You know, the retail opportunities are a huge and only going to increase. And for smaller brands, it's such an incredible way to meet your customer, and to sell products and to grow your business. You know, having that space to see, touch, and feel the product is just absolutely necessary for smaller brands. So a lot of brands do reach out to us. We do also go out to some, especially if there are certain product categories that our customers are interested in that we might be missing. The biggest one at the moment that we're looking for, which is kind of crazy that we have such a struggle, but it's just really incredibly beautiful and simple organic basics, or basics that are as sustainable as possible. It's amazing. It's something you'd think would be really easy to find. There's a couple of bigger players in the sustainable field here with these products, but there's not that many startups or no one doing anything. No one kind of pushing the boundaries in these areas. So that would be my tip, is if you're looking at starting a brand, really focus on doing the most sustainable as possibly possible in terms of sustainability as you can in the basics area.
Rebecca, we see a lot of passion in your way of it's related to sustainability, the way your brands are embedded into your system. But I would like to ask you, how do you empower independent brands you select for lawn design?
So for us, it's really about connecting them to conscious consumers all over the world. We really believe that the omni-channel is the future. And we've seen it in the way that we've operated, having a physical space super well connected to digital. For us, it's really about helping those brands get in front of those customers, where it's digital or physical. The physical side is where we focused the most pre-COVID. And like I said before, having that space for a customer and a brand to come together is a hugely transparent conversation. It's extremely empowering and experiential to be able to meet the person behind the brand. You know, that person knows everything. They have that excitement, the passion, that drive. You know, you can't get that when you walk into a big, a chain store. Can you imagine going into H&M and meeting, a designer? And it just would never happen. And it's so important and special because you're meeting the person who knows exactly where it was made. They know all about the materials. They've worn it themselves, so they know how to care for it. The size and the fit, they took part in that process. And I think that is a really incredibly powerful experience. And it's something that you will never forget. And we get this time and time again with customers that come in, the nostalgic relationship that it creates. And that nostalgia then leads to the consumer holding on to that item and caring for it even better. And many times we've had instances where, people have said, this is something I can pass down to generations, or I can, especially when it comes to jewelry or other items. And I think that is really special, and how we can really promote the longevity of a piece, but someone's really thought about that purchase, and you know that they will get the absolute most wear and care out of it, which I think is super special.
Absolutely. And yeah, talking about experience, it's now crucial to talk about experience and experiential shopping, also because the new generations are looking for it, and also because now with omni-channel e-commerce, like brick and mortar, have also to offer this kind of experiences in order to make a unique and unforgettable experience, but also to share a set of values that these brands that you are working with really want to share with their customers. So, how important is the experience and the experiential shopping, and how do you promote experience in your retail?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I think it's absolutely essential. And I think the pandemic has shown us that, before COVID, too many businesses relied too heavily on a transaction happening in a store alone. Nobody's going into a store these days because they want to just, it's not transactional anymore. And I think this was where a lot of these players got it wrong. The high street physical retail is about discovery, not distribution. And too many of these bigger players were treating it as a distribution channel, as a quick way to convert, and it's just not the case. That's why we have online. I still believe that digital is in its early stages. I think there's a long way to go because before this comes a proper experiential way of shopping. And because of that, the high street and physical retail has to be completely built upon experience. What we really focus on at LDC is experience, community, and storytelling. And those three elements are absolutely essential to bring into that physical space. And the way we do it, number one, is meeting the designers. That transparency and that excitement, that relationship building is crucial. At the same time, it's why we love pop-ups. You know, they're lean and agile on one side, but they're also incredibly experiential. We're there for 2 weeks, then we're gone. So it's very much that call to action, that sense of urgency and immediacy. And I think we're going to see more and more pop-up stores and temporary retail, you know, as we kind of continue, as it's, you know, the future of the high street's accelerated. At the same time, we love to just have happenings in store. So on one evening, there'll be a panel discussion with various speakers on a topic. So you're coming to a space not just to browse and see clothing, but you're coming to get a deeper experience, go behind the scenes with a topic, whether it's on sustainability or it's a workshop led by a designer on where it's candle making. You know, you're going way further than just the item or the product. And I think that's what we're seeing anyway, that customers really want. For us, really interesting statistic, about 80% of customers with Outloan Design Club started their journey from an event. And I think that's insane. You know, 80% of the people on our databases from events.
Oh, wow. That's so strange. So, Rebecca, how do you see the fashion industry in 10 years? And if you could give three advices to startups and emerging brands to incorporate sustainability in their business model, what would they be?
So first of all, in terms of the evolution of the fashion industry, I mean, I think the big thing right now is sustainability. You know, I think this is the biggest thing we've seen throughout the pandemic is the industry just wasn't prepared. It hasn't thought about it. And it's really been, I think, a shock to a lot of people that this has to be taken seriously. This is not it's not optional, but it's absolutely hit a point of crisis. So I think that's a big thing that's going to be evolving and changing. The amount of, one of the things we've seen that's, I think, absolutely fascinating and great is our designers already have been using sustainable materials, have been producing ethically and everything like that. But the majority of them have actually now moved about 50% of their materials to either recycled organic materials or upcycling, which I think is incredible. These smaller guys that are so much more agile and can react so much faster are taking this so seriously. And I think if that attitude can be reflected throughout the entire industry and we can see more effort from bigger players as well as the government, more policies, then I think we're in a really great place. So I think sustainability will be a huge evolution. And on the other side, of course, digital. It's something that the beginning of the pandemic, a lot of people, I think, realized, we really haven't got this together. We're really not ready. And if you actually look, or in my opinion, if you look at what's happened over the past year, the majority of innovation has been on back end and has just been getting the infrastructure actually ready and actually have the ability to properly serve customers digitally because it just wasn't there. And it's going to be really interesting as we continue the innovation and the evolution. There's a lot still around fittings, how items are going to fit, how items fit shopping digitally. At the moment, 1 in 3 items purchased online gets returned. The majority of the reasons it doesn't fit. So I think that's absolutely, it's fascinating and ridiculous. And that is another reason why physical retail is so crucial, because you can try the product there and you can properly see it. So I think there's a long way to go on how we can properly represent clothing online so that when you do buy something, you know what you're going to get, or you're much closer to that experience like the physical. In terms of 3 pieces of advice for young brands starting out, my first would be focus on one thing. None of us, we can't be 100% sustainable yet. Of course, that's the mission that we're all on. And I think don't overwhelm, focus on one thing that you can do. Is it about materials? Are you focusing on one incredible material that is just so fantastically sustainable? Or is it about the ethics? Or is it social responsibility? What is the one thing that you want to focus on that you're really perfecting And by that I mean you're very well educated in, you're super confident on, you've got all the accreditations, and you know exactly what's going on in that sphere. Don't try to do it all, just do one for now and slowly grow and progress. Second thing is learning and education, constantly learning, constantly reading about what's happening, the innovation, how you can start striving towards being better and better and working to be, have that zero impact on people and planet, and educating people around you. As a brand and as a consumer, as anyone on this planet, we have the responsibility to not only make the effort ourselves, but to educate others, and to share that knowledge. And I think the pandemic has shown that that has such a huge ability to really help the evolution, speed up that evolution. And then the final thing would be embrace technology, because technology can be a huge benefit when it comes to sustainability in terms of measurements and metrics. There's so much out there. Blockchain is a hugely interesting piece of tech that we receive a lot of data from. A lot of brands use it, and I just think it's fascinating. So that would be my final one.
Thank you so much, Rebecca, for these precious advices, but also for your passion and for sharing with us your experience. And we would like to spend the whole afternoon talking with you about these things. And we hope to meet you again soon. And so thank you so much. And
No, thank you. It's been great.
Thank you very much.
thank you.
Thank you so much. Bye.